Talking about it all week. On the line with us right now, we have artist, songwriter, producer, Mr. Saturday Night himself, Grammy Award winner, keyboardist, vocalist, former Maroon 5 member. Give it up one time, PJ Morton. Come on, y'all.
Clap, clap,
Clap, clap, clap, clap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In the building.
Thank y'all for having me. Man, people keep saying former Maroon 5. I've been in Maroon 5 14 years. We still going strong. I ain't quit yet.
Oh, okay.
He said, put some respect on my name. Put some respect
Okay, so
on my name.
you're still in the band. You travel and tour with them and everything.
Absolutely. We just finished our Vegas residency
Wow.
a couple months ago, and we got another Vegas residency in March next year at Park MGM, same place Usher did his. So now we're working on a new record. We going strong, man. I'm just a maniac, and I'm juggling both of these things. But
Yeah.
but they're still there. Yeah, still going strong.
That's good stuff, man. Well, we love a good story, man. Want to talk about your book Saturday night, Sunday morning. Let's start from the beginning because I know those Grammys didn't just come out of nowhere, man. There's a part in the book in the beginning when you were younger. Tell us the story about because I know you come from a large family, church background. Your mom was into classical music, and so everybody in the house had to learn how to play piano. But you was different, so kind of tell us that story about you growing up during that time.
Yeah, man, it really was a cultural difference. You know, my mother grew up in New Orleans, you know, and in the South. My father was from Canada, from Windsor, Ontario, right across from Detroit. So he knew Motown. He knew what gospel music came from there, Clark Sisters and the Winans and all of these things, and how people usually learn from ear. You know, they learned, it was like more of a soul thing. But my mother was all about learning the craft. And so she loved classical music and wanted me to be in piano lessons. My sister was an amazing, like, classical pianist. But, man, I was hearing the stuff on the radio. I was hearing, you know, theme songs on TV, what's happening now, and, like, you know, Golden Girls and Cheers and all of this stuff. And I would go to the piano and play these things. And so I didn't have the discipline to sit there and learn, you know, when I was already playing stuff that was on the radio and impressing my friends. So, you know, eventually I just told her, I can't, this is not for me. You know, I want to play piano, but learning it this way is just not the way I want to do it. And I mean, it worked out. You know, we made it here. It worked out, but yeah, that was interesting in the beginning and something that I had to kind of fight through with my mother.
Right. And reading the book, I just thought it was funny because you had the guy teaching you how to play, and I think if I'm not mistaken, you would do what he wanted, but you would also do your own thing. And finally, he just said, "Man, just play something." And so you looked at him like he was crazy, and all of a sudden he just says, "You know what? You don't need me, man. You're gifted." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was powerful, man. That was powerful at that age, you know. And it was two different teachers. So when I first started piano lessons, before they get you to notes, they put numbers there so your fingers could go in the numbers, 10, you know, 1 through 10. And so I would learn it through the numbers, but then I would memorize it. So I was adding my little stuff, whatever felt soulful. And he's like, "Man, you're not playing what you're reading." You know, I'm like, "What are you're not fooling me." And then my teacher, Mr. Alphonse, was just like, "Hey, man, don't read nothing. Just play what you want." And I just played something, you know, from the heart. And, man, he really freed me with that. He was like, you know, you got a gift that I can't teach. You should follow that. And, man, you know, hearing that from another adult when my mom was I was like, "Mom," even he said it, you know, and that was it, man. I was off to the races from there.
Right. So at what point did you know that's what you wanted to do? You wanted to be an artist. You wanted to be you know, a musician and you know, to where you are right now, basically.
Yeah, for me it was around, I mean, it got serious. I knew at 8 years old I wanted to play and stuff, but at 14 is really when I got serious. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this for a living. You know, I had musicians around me who had success and had been on the road and stuff, and I would look at them like, that's the life I want to have. And yeah, at 15 years old, I wrote my first song that would become like that I placed as a professional songwriter. And that came out when I was 16. And so I knew really, really early on, man, that I wanted to be a part of music, a part of the music business. And I really stayed focused on that from an early age.
Right. So go ahead, Mel. Mel got a question for you.
Hey, how are you? So first I want to give
What's
a
up,
shout
Mel?
out. How are you, love? I want to give a shout out to you because I too am a PK kid. And being a PK kid, people don't understand how difficult it is for us to be seen as maybe a beacon inside the church, but still be struggling in the secular space, right? I'm curious
Right.
that, how do you get the anointed space happening, right? Because I really do believe when you have a child like what you're explaining, that they can just by hearing something pick it up, right? And you get into the church and that kind of gets nurtured. How do you kind of
Right.
how do you craft that to turn that into 20 Grammy nominations and awards, and turn around and turn it into a career where your mama and your daddy are not trying to disown you?
And on top of that, you're the son of a preacher.
That's what I'm saying. Being a PK kid,
PK.
being a PK kid,
Right.
That's right.
it's
Yeah,
not
that's
for the
what you
weak.
started with. Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
for the weak.
Right.
No, it was tough, and I think that this is when you start getting into like purpose over just like feelings and what you want to do. At some point I had to face, all right, if I'll fight this good fight, it's got to be purpose. It can't just be like this is just what I want to do. This is just what I feel like I want to do. But for me, it was always the gut check. You know what I'm saying? I always just made sure it felt genuine and organic and real to me. And when I made decisions that way, they just took me where they took me. For me, there was always a built-in standard into what I was doing, whether I was doing, writing gospel music, but doing R&B music or soul music or doing pop music with Maroon 5. I always just remained myself in whatever room I was in. And I think once my parents supported me, as a young kid, once they realized that I just wasn't trying to rebel, but this was actually purpose and a gift for me, that just made me have the confidence to just be who I was, regardless of whatever room I was in. And I've been in a lot of different rooms, but I just remained PJ in those rooms and represented myself. I didn't just conform to wherever I was,
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also here, Marco, I'm a musician, and I definitely see where you're coming from as far as, you're bringing the gospel into the secular world. And I also see as, how would you be able to gain more strength if you're around, people that are like-minded Christians, as opposed to being out in the world, you may be able to change somebody's life,
Yes.
that may not even believe in God,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And I think that's just the beauty of that, of us being able to spread the gospel.
No, I agree with you. I think it's important not to conflate, because see, for me, I wasn't a gospel artist that was going to spread gospel. I was a man of faith, a Christian who had a love for R&B and soul music. So I was bringing soul music to people. I was bringing R&B music to people. I was bringing soul music, R&B music to people in church. My dad, when he did the foreword to my initial book, it said, listen, I don't listen to Amazing Grace when I'm with your mother. You know what I'm saying? Well, we try to set a mood. So I think it's important not to make this just about bringing the gospel to the world.
Yeah.
I think there are enough people that do that. Where we get lost is understanding that Christians can be more than just that, more than just gospel. No, we need to speak about love. We need to speak about life from that perspective, and from a positive perspective, from somebody who has a clear mind. So it wasn't just about bringing the word to people, because I think that's a lifestyle thing. I've heard people my whole life try to, speak the word to other people, but they don't live it. So like after a while, people, that is not effective. So I always was about just living who I was. The music was something totally separate. I'm making love songs. I'm making life songs. but it was more about my lifestyle and who I was writing these songs.
So,
So I just wanted to say that as well.
yeah.
Nice.
So what made you write the book, and what do you want folks to get out of it Saturday night, Sunday morning?
Man, like you were saying, we come to a point, 20 nominations, five Grammy Awards as an independent artist. In Maroon 5, I was once signed to Lil Wayne. I'm all over the place, man, and I just felt like, it was finally time to, because some people know me in Maroon 5 don't know that I have a solo career. Some of my fans who know my solo career had no idea about Maroon 5 or that I was a preacher's kid. And so I just thought, now that people started to ask me questions about how I was able to find success and able to do certain things, it was time to tell my story. I like to talk through the music. I don't really like to talk about myself, but I thought it was a good time to just stop here and really give some recipes, man, because what I do realize is my journey wasn't the normal journey. It was unique. Every major label turned me down, and to still get here, to have success in music, I just want to show people that there's another way, and that it is special that you're unique. Lean into the thing that makes you different and unique, because it can get you to the place you really want to be, a place of peace. So that's why I wrote it, man, and I hope people read it and love it. It's inspiring even to me, So
Right.
yeah.
Nice.
Right. Now, you mentioned real quick you was signed to Lil Wayne, Young Money, and I didn't know that either.
right.
But when I think of P.J. Morton, and now you say you was signed to Young Money, you got to talk about that. Explain that.
Did you get a gold chain? I just want to know. You got a gold chain?
You got a Cash Money gold
You know what I'm
chain?
saying? Did you get a chain?
Well, look, it wasn't Rockefeller, you know what I'm saying, or Cash Money. So I got my YMCMB hoodie. That's about all I got was my YMCMB hoodie. But no, it was an experience. A lot of people thought it was super random. It wasn't as random as it seemed. I'm born and raised in New Orleans. Mac Main, who was the president of Young Money, we went to high school together, so there was some relationship there. And this was at the time Wayne was just getting out of jail, actually, and they were trying to diversify the label and get different looks to the label. And I did release one album on Young Money. My first single was with Lil Wayne called Lover. And it was one album, but I learned so much being with those guys. It definitely was different than anything I was used to. But this is why my story is so unique. It's like I learned from that, and that was the only major label that I did. And I was indie before that and been indie since then. But it was such a learning lesson, and I was around winners. This was when Wayne, Drake, Nicki, Tyga, it was all going crazy. I was there at a crazy time. And so, I'm appreciative of my experience there, but definitely learned from it.
Wow. We know you got to run. Just one more question. How do you feel about today's music? Today's R&B.
I mean, I have mixed it. Yeah, today's R&B, I mean, I think there's so much incredible R&B out there. I think we should definitely focus on the positive there. I mean, this Leon Thomas album that just dropped, my friend Ombre from New Orleans.
It's a big record.
Shoot, man, Kenyon Dixon. There's so much good R&B out there. I think music in general is at a weird place because a lot of us are chasing streaming and chasing analytics. And I think, man, when we make things out of love and we make things that we believe in, the numbers get taken care of in the long term. That's what I had to learn for myself. Chasing just never worked for me. But I do believe that, man, this is the most talented time we've ever experienced for creatives, but it's also the most crowded time because there's a low barrier for entry, right? Anybody could get in. If you could cut a song in your room, you could upload it. But I think that's a gift and a curse. But for me, man, I feel positive about where R&B is going, and I meet amazing R&B artists every single day. So I have a positive feeling about it ultimately.
Yeah. Speaking of good music, just for me listening to your catalog, one of the features that have been on that I can't. I got to continue listening to it. I still listen to it to this day. I have to ask the question: what was the creative process for Monday with Red Hands.
For Monday. Oh,
That's
Red
like one of my
Hands. Okay.
that's one of my favorite songs by you, and I always been shedding it on my bass.
Oh wow, okay.
And
He said, "Shedding it on my bass."
yeah, like it's an
Look at
amazing
the
song.
lingo
And I
coming
just
out.
want to know
Okay, sir.
how like what was the creative process with that?
Yeah, I actually can't take a lot of credit for that song. I mean, Red Hands, man. I was just a fan of the band, and they reached out to me. They had that song fully written. We weren't in the same room when I cut my vocal. I don't remember if I was on the road or if I was home, but I cut my vocal on my own, and we just bounced back and forth. But they already had the concept, they already had the lyrics, so that was one. That's a rare occasion where I actually just sang it. I just sang the song, and of course I brought my flavor to it. But those guys, man, they're young geniuses, man, and they had that concept, because I love that song too, just the concept of Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fire. But I just sang it, man. I just lended my voice to it.
Nice,
I like
nice.
All right, so I'm going to ask one last question, and I'm going to sit over here in the corner and be quiet. I'm just curious.
No problem. All right.
I'm just curious. How did you maintain your true north, right? When I think of true north, I think of it as, that space that is your truth, right? When you're in these spaces, and you think of people like Diddy and all that the industry has created these spaces. Were you ever in a place where you began to question yourself in that and in what you were doing and why you were doing it, or were you always able to keep that true north?
Oh no, 100%. That gets challenged all the time. For me, I mean, not more recently. When you're fully confident and you know who you are and you have success and you're not chasing because you need money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, usually these are from places of desperation when you have to question yourself and why you're doing it. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been times I wanted to quit, multiple times I wanted to quit, or switch it up, or like, PJ, why don't you just do one record like this? You know what I'm saying? Just to, maybe this will get you in there, and maybe this will get you to this. Yes, absolutely. I think that's realistic. I think to say otherwise is counterproductive. It's just, for me, thankfully, I had people around me who grounded me. Like even my drummer. My drummer, we started a band when I was 12 years old. He was 14. He's still my drummer to this day.
Nice.
and like having family around, having my manager Tanya she started as my merch person, selling my T-shirts 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think keeping people around who understand me, who know me, that's how I'm able to self-check. But absolutely, there've been times where I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I know I'm trying to stand for this, but this would just be much easier if I just did this. But I will say, every time I've made a decision purely financially based or purely because I needed a check, I've regretted it every single time. So that's one of the lessons that
That's
I've had to learn through the years. You know what I'm saying? Is not to only be motivated by like money, because
Not all money's
you got to
good
deal
money.
with yourself after that money goes away.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
real.
So yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, we know you got to run, man. We do appreciate you stopping through today. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for artist, songwriter, producer, Grammy Award winner, multi-Grammy Awards, PJ Morton. We want to thank you for coming in. That book, Saturday Night, Sunday Morning. And they can get that on all streaming outlets, or
Even Target.
tell the folks
Yeah,
where they can
even
cop
Target.
the book.
Yeah, wherever books are sold, man. And I appreciate y'all having me. Great conversation. Good hanging with y'all. I appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate
Make sure you
man.
say hi to me on the street the next time you see me. Don't walk past me like a stranger, all right?
I got you, Mel. Come on, I got you. We old friends, man. What you talking
Right.
about?
We got to dap it up. Like, that's my homie.
All right. Thanks, PJ. We appreciate you,
See you
man.
later.
Much success.
All right, thank y'all.
All right.